Today we're going to take a look at the 2022 Honda CRF450RX. We'll talk about where this bike fits into Honda's current dirt bike lineup, and we'll go over some of its specs and features. Plus, we'll touch on what Honda changed for 2022 and how this bike is different from the CRF450R. We'll start it up too so you can hear what the exhaust sounds like and more. But first, if you guys find any info in this video helpful, please take a second and hit the like button. Liking the video and commenting below really helps with growing this channel through YouTube's algorithm, and I really appreciate the help, guys. So first up, where does the CRF450RX fit into Honda's current model lineup? Now, Honda makes about 19 different 450 models, so it can be rather confusing, and it could be a 10 to 20 minute video alone just explaining the different models. So we'll keep this part short and sweet, and we'll do a future video where we break down all of the models. Now, this isn't your normal trail bike. This model has taken the CRF450R race bike and throwing a few trail-friendly changes at it and calling it a day. It's for those that want the baddest machine Honda makes, but not necessarily for the motocross or supercross track. Think of it as a competition-style bike for race series like GNCC and the rest of them. Can you use it for normal trail riding? Sure, but just keep in mind what you're getting into when it comes to the overall maintenance and cost, as this bike isn't cheap with an MSRP of $98.99, and if you're just wanting something to putt around the trails on, there are a lot more options and better ones from Honda. I want to take a quick second and say thank you to Southern Honda Power Sports for opening their doors to me and allowing me to come pick through their inventory for these videos. They are a massive Honda Power Sports dealer here in Chattanooga, Tennessee, with tons of inventory from new Hondas to used Harleys and everything in between that they sell to people from all over the USA. So check out the link in the description below and head over to their website to see if they can save you some money on your next toy. And now that we've got that out of the way, let's jump into a little more info on the RX. Well, before we do that, I want to make a quick note. Since this bike shares so much in common with the R model, and so you don't have to hear me repeat the same information twice, I'll put a link below and in the top right corner where you can check out my 2022 CRF450R video, where I highlight a lot on the engine, chassis, electronics package, and more that are shared with this RX model. Now, let's get back on topic. So why does the CRF450RX cost $300 more than the CRF450R that's priced at $95.99? And what's the difference between the two models? Well, you have a few goodies that were added to separate it from the more motocross-focused R model. The RX has dedicated ECU settings for more technical off-road conditions, which were updated for this year, and we'll touch more on that here in just a minute. Plus, you also have different suspension settings for a more supple ride and to also help minimize deflection off rocks and roots. You also get a forged aluminum side stand, something that all the trail riders that bought R models in the past would have to add via the aftermarket. The RX also has an 18-inch rear wheel instead of a 19-inch for the increased tire sidewall to help with traction, among many other things. Speaking of tires, that's another difference between them. You have the Dunlop Geomax AT81s on the RX with Dunlop Geomax MX33s on the R. Their sizes are also different, with a 90/90 by 21 up front on the RX and an 80/100 by 21. And then out back you have a 120/90 by 18 compared to a 120/80 by 19. Honda also played around with the gearing too, throwing a 50-tooth rear sprocket on the RX instead of a 49. You also get a set of handguards too, coming in at only 222 grams, and they can be removed easily as well. Another change to make it more friendly outside the motocross track is a larger fuel tank. They ditched the titanium 1.7 gallon fuel tank in favor of this 2.1 gallon tank. And what did these changes do to the overall weight difference between the two models? Your curb weight goes from 244 pounds on the R up to 251 for the RX. Now, what did Honda change for 2022? Not a lot, because the RX and the R went through a massive overhaul in 2021, but we still saw some changes for this year. First up is the engine, which received updated ECU mapping to further enhance the performance boost you see in the low to mid-range from the internal changes it received in 2021. The 49mm Showa AGT coil spring fork had the low-speed shim stack revalve to generate firmer settings for both compression and rebound damping. Oil volume was also reduced 8 cc's to 380 cc's, and there are now 13 adjustment points for rebound compared to the 14 it had, and compression stays the same with 14 adjustment positions. The Showa MKE AF2 rear shocks low, mid, and high-speed shim stack also delivers firmer overall settings for compression damping. There are now 13 adjustment positions for rebound, up from 10, and 7 for low-speed compression, down from 9, and 2 1/3 for high speed from 2 1/6. And the spring preset length also goes from 6.1 millimeters by 305 newtons to 6.5 millimeters by 325 newtons. The oil volume also increases 1 cc up to 422 cc's. Now let's start it up and show you guys what it sounds like, and then we'll come back for a few more things. And that's the 2022 CRF450RX. Don't forget, if you want to learn more about the chassis, engine, electronics package, and more, check out my 2022 CRF450R video linked below, as they share the same bells and whistles. But what do you guys think about the RX? Do you think it's a model Honda needs in their lineup? And what do you think about the changes Honda threw at it this year? And is there anything you wish Honda would have done differently? Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments section, and I'll be joining in on the conversation too. And that's a wrap for this one, guys. Thanks as always for watching and for all the support lately. I really appreciate it, and we'll see you in the next one.